Whatever type of TV you've got, if you've got a black screen and it's not working properly, then it's usually pretty easy to fix at home with just a few tools and a few minutes of your time. So in this video, I'm just going to quickly cover the simplest to most complex fixes for black screens on TVs. First of all, just make sure it's not caused by any software gremlins. So power cycle your TV. That just means unplugging your TV, holding down the physical power button on it for at least 15 seconds, then wait for a further 30 minutes for any residual power to drain out, then plug your TV back in and try switching it on again. You should also just make sure you've removed all HDMI cables and any other signal cables in case another device is controlling your TV. And also try removing any surge protectors or smart plugs between your TV and the wall socket, so your TV is plugged directly into the wall socket in case of a failure of one of those devices is not providing sufficient power to your TV. But if you've done all of that, then it's time to open up your TV and have a look at hardware fixes. Before you do that, just run the flashlight test so you can get some more information about what's causing the black screen on your TV. So plug your TV in and switch it on, power it up as best you can. So follow your usual switch on process even if it doesn't appear to be doing anything. Then hold up a flashlight or switch on the light on your phone and hold it close to the screen at an angle. You might want to pull up the on-screen menu or plug in an aerial so that you've got some signal going to your TV, and then see if you can see very faint images on your screen. If you can see images by shining a flashlight right up close to your screen, then that almost certainly means that you have a backlight failure. If you don't see any images, or if the backlight is powering up so you can see that the screen is glowing but it's still completely black and there's no signal getting to it, then you probably either have a T-con failure or a mainboard failure. If your TV is just not responding at all, there's no LEDs on the front, there's no apparent signs that it's getting power, then you probably have a power board failure. So with that information, we can now open up the TV and troubleshoot it a bit further and try and fix the problem. So first of all, unplug your TV, hold down the power button for about 15 seconds, then just wait for 30 minutes or so just to make sure all power has drained from your TV, because you don't want to get a shock when you open it up. Then put your TV face down on a soft surface and undo all of the screws in the back panel. There may be a few plastic clips that you need to jimmy open with a flathead screwdriver. The back panel should then just peel straight off. If it doesn't come off easily, then just check for any hidden screws that you might have missed or any clips. You'll then need to remove any chassis pieces covering the boards inside and any tape holding the cables in place so that you can clearly see what you're doing. Inside you'll see 3 major boards inside your TV. So there's the main board or motherboard, which is the logic and the brains of your TV. It's where your HDMI cables and other cables plug in. And this sends a signal to the T-con board, which then translates the signal into something that the panel can use and sends it to the panel by the 2 ribbon LVDS cables. And both of these boards are powered by the power board, which is where your power socket plugs into and which provides power for all of the internal components, and there's 2 cables going off to power the backlight. Now if you did the flashlight test and did see faint images, then first of all just double check your power board is working normally. Look for any signs of bulging capacitors or burn marks on the power board. If it all looks good, then just double check that all of the connectors are firmly in place, that there's no damage to any of the connectors, particularly the 2 connectors going to the backlight. If all that looks fine, then you almost certainly have a backlight failure. So you'll need to remove all of the boards and the rest of the chassis to get to the backlight. Most of the connectors will just come out easily by squeezing them. The T-con cables, you'll need to just pop up the little catch to remove the cables, and then unscrew all of the remaining chassis parts to get access to the screen. There'll be a lot of clips and additional little screws. It's a good idea when you start taking apart your TV that you keep all the screws of the same type together, put them in a plastic bag or put a note on them so that you know exactly where they're supposed to go in when you rebuild your TV, because you don't want any leftover screws. Once you remove most of the chassis, you can remove the panel itself. This is very thin and fragile, so make sure you very carefully handle it and you distribute the weight evenly and you put it on a soft surface, because you don't want to crack it, and you can very easily do that. Once you've removed the panel, you'll then just have a few backlight diffuser sheets. Take those all out, and you'll then be able to see the backlights themselves. You can either use a TV backlight tester to see if they work, or a multimeter, or you can try plugging in your TV and switching it on and see if they light up, although you've got to be careful of the voltages if you do that. Or you can just get a standard household battery, attach a piece of wire to each terminal, and then complete the circuit by pushing the wire onto either side of each LED in turn and see if each LED lights up. So there should be enough power in just a simple household battery to power one LED. If the LEDs don't light up, then you know you've got a backlight failure. It's generally best to replace all of the LEDs at once rather than any individual LEDs. It'll probably only cost you about $30 for a new set of LEDs. And just look on eBay for your TV's model number and buy one new full set. There's generally quite a bit of flexibility in the types of LEDs you can get for your TV, as long as they'll fit the connectors in your TV and operate at the same voltage. Then you won't have any trouble even with a slightly different type. If, when you did the flashlight test, you did not see faint images, or you saw that the backlight was powering up so that you know that the backlight works and the power board works, then your problem is either on the main board or the T-con. A quick way just to try and localize the problem is to remove one of the LVDS cables connecting the T-con to the panel, leave the other one attached, and then switch your TV on and see if you have picture on half of your screen. You can then switch over which cable is connected, disconnect the second cable, reconnect the first cable, and see if you have any picture on the other half of your screen. If you do have picture with one of the cables connected, but not with both of the cables connected, then you know that you have a fault on the T-con board itself, and you should replace the T-con board. Again, you can just go onto eBay. It's pretty inexpensive to replace it. If you have no signal at all, no picture coming through, but the backlight's powering up, and it doesn't matter whether one or both of the LVDS cables are connected to the T-con, there's still no picture at all, and it's a black screen, then you probably have a failure on the main board. But you'll need a multimeter to confirm this. So to recap, if the black screen on your TV has an active backlight but no signal on the screen, then you've either got a mainboard failure or a T-con failure. If you do the flashlight test and you see faint images, so you've got signal coming through your screen but no backlight, then you almost certainly have a backlight failure of the LEDs themselves. And if you have no response from your TV at all, then you probably have a power board failure. If you've just got a flashing red light that comes on and the screen itself doesn't come on, then that's probably a mainboard failure. And it's easy enough just to replace any of these failed boards by getting a cheap new one off eBay.